So I think today that we've come up to our last session, or close to our last session for our 50 weeks of transformation. The heat on in here?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment.
All the base floor heaters are on.
Y'all call? I'm just asking. Yeah?
We can turn on one of these as well if you'd like.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I hope that those online will be able to hear with the other heaters on. If you can, send a note. Travis is checking for us. But the best lessons that we have are our life lessons. And that's the whole point of the Buddha's message, that this is not going to be something we can get from reading it in a book. It's not going to be something that we can truly say we possess unless we can walk it out. And many times, although we understand something, not only intellectually, but like heartfully, we understand something. Still, when it comes time for us to action, to do a certain action, we have not developed the discipline to move beyond our feelings, how we feel about something. We don't have the capacity to go beyond our emotions. We talk about our emotions ran away with us. And we try to do better next time. Of course, next time is usually like the last time. And it takes us a long time before we really make change. So there is slow change and there is quick change. Let's just say I'm the kind of person who just likes to live my life however I want. And I've been unruly since the time I was a child or a teenager, or when I turned 18, I'm like, nothing's gonna stop me now and nobody's gonna tell me what I can and can't do. And to make sure of that, I'm gonna excel in business, so I have my own money. And so and we go through this whole tick list of what it is to be independent, what it is to be free, and what it is to do it my way. And we pride ourselves on how well we meet up to this standard. We admire the ones, and I'm not saying they're not to be admired. All I'm saying is, what are you looking for? And we find that the ones who actually arise to what we consider great attributes in the world often have live a life of more suffering than those of us who've not aspired to such great heights. So the ones whose art we appreciate, and whose music we appreciate, and whose writings we appreciate, can be some of the worst people in the world to live with. I'm not going to call this person's name, but I wonder, he writes all of these hit novels that become movies about scary things. And I just can't imagine, like, the mind that thinks of all of that, of where that comes from. And I could be totally off the grid on this, but I could imagine that a person who can conceive of such things in their mind could be a little bit difficult to just live with on a daily basis. But yet, the works that they produced, either through this torment or this view of life, really touches us on the edge of where we live. And so the Buddha is also trying to touch us on the edge of where we live. And so we find a lot of the teachings go against the grain. They rub us the wrong way. We say, oh, it doesn't take all of that. Yet we want what he has and what he says is available. But when it comes down to actually doing what's necessary to uh, to uh, um, to actualize it, to realize it directly, we have a little bit of difficulty. And sometimes we have a lot of difficulty. Sometimes we just turn completely and go in a different direction, or we get discouraged, or we get overruled. Our rationality gets overruled by our inability to adjust to the changes that need to be made to help us reach our goal, to get what it is that we're looking for. And so that becomes the great challenge in spiritual practice, and particularly in Buddhist practice, after we learn the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. We might come to know it's the 10 perfections in Theravada, which are compressed into 6 perfections in the Mahayana. So we have these things, these principles, these guidelines, and taking vows, we have these rules, we have all of these things. But our will to actually walk them out becomes difficult. And so we don't go away sorrowfully, we just reduce the standard. We just lower the bar so that we can tolerate the standard, and also that we can be a little bit more content with ourselves and how we walk through the life. Now, when one is moving, though, for the excellency, moving towards the accomplishment, not just the practice, but the accomplishment of the goal, realizing the goal, then the stakes become a little higher. And our effort, we are invited, to pump up our effort. Someone sent me a text this morning, and it said, my great wish for today is to live the life, I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember exactly, to live the life of the Buddha and Jesus. And I wrote back, because that text came very early in the morning. I wrote back, really? Do you really want to? And then I began to, and it was just that kind of morning, I began to expound on what they had to endure, what they had to suffer, what they had to go through, what they had to give up. And I said, do you really want to? Then I sent it back. Maybe that was too tough for the first thing in the morning. Because I didn't get a response, but it wasn't nothing about that email that came to me and my email response. That was like a 6 a.m. response. And so sometimes we get into a habit, or we catch the low-hanging fruit, and we start, I'm so glad I'm pure. I'm so glad I'm good. I'm so glad, And so we never really reach the goal, is what I'm saying. So today, I think it's fitting for me to share. First, I want to thank everybody who's been trying to help us get this video done and get the song done and so forth. And we know that on Saturday, on Sunday, I know we got the call to write the song. We couldn't use that one because we have not gotten back the approval. The music belongs to someone else. We just rewrote the lyrics to talk about what we wanted, and we fit it to the music. So we have to have permission, and it has not come. And the deadline is coming up for the production of the TV event. So we got a night call that says, okay, write something original. And we've never written anything. Write a song and put it to music. Like, we don't know how to do that yet. You know, we're at the mimicking stage right now, and just getting fairly acceptable at that. You know, so there was this sudden fear that we couldn't do it. You know, we couldn't do it. But we got together, and it was 5 of us, right? The 4 in the choir and so on. And we sat there, and in 2 hours, we belted out something. He came up with a do-do-do-do-do. I started with hearing that do-do-do-do. I heard certain words. Next thing you know, we were all combining, and within 2 hours, we'd come up with a song. And I don't mean just a song. I think it was a really good song, you know. And I'm not saying it because we wrote it, you know. I'm just saying it's a song that I would like. It's a song that I, you know, it gives me a certain feeling, and it was hard to believe that came out of us. So we heard from those in high office at Woodmaster's compound, and they said, yeah, but this is not true Dharma. He said, this is not Buddha Dharma. These are the things that's wrong. And and by the way, in like 3 more hours, we had Michael come and put the piano and the music to it, and then we laid the voice track. So in about 5 hours, we did the whole thing, and it was showing us something, how we think we don't have the capacity to do something. And the more you get out of yourself, you find that the capacity for everything is just resident. You know, it's everywhere. It's almost like just grabbing it and pulling it in and making use of it. So when we're thinking that we're deficient within ourselves, it's because we're within ourselves, is what I'm saying. So when you have an obstacle or you have something that you have to do, you have to step out of yourself to make the best use of what's available in the cosmos to support every good intention. And if we recognize that, we wouldn't look just at what we can see in front of ourselves. I remember reading something in the Old Testament. I'm forgetting now who all the personalities were, but he was coming up, or some army was coming up against this prophet, and his assistant said, "It's a whole lot of them. You know, I don't think we're going to be successful. I don't think we're going to win. We need to retreat." And he said, "God, like just pull the veil back over his eyes and let him see who's really with us." And the veil dropped, and he saw this legion of angels, you know, and it said it's more with us than against us. And so just knowing the capacity and the wisdom crying in the universe to be captured and used, that's our purpose. Sometimes the Buddha Master talks about being an instrument of the Dharma. I love it because you start thinking about, well, if I'm not me, who am I? How about an instrument? An instrument of the Buddha Dharma. And then that gives a kind of purpose to life that surpasses or supersedes anything else that I could imagine in life, because it's that high for me, as Sada says, it's high Dharma. You know, it's high for me. And so if we want to talk about overcoming suffering and everything conditioned in this life, this brings us suffering when it's gone, when we liked it, and brings us suffering when it comes, when we don't like it, then we get captured by our insufficiency in being able to live a stress-free and a suffering-free life. So he says, but it is possible. Now, I don't need it if I'm going someplace else in another world that doesn't have that. I need it here. I need it now in this world. And when I am convinced through direct experience that it's available in this world, then there is no more suffering. Between now and then, there's suffering, whether we talk about it, whether we don't talk about it, whether we pretend it's not there, or however we try to cover it up or push back away our thinking, it's always there. And so he gives us these different practices and different methods and different ways to think that we should ponder. But when we ponder different ways to think, we think about not really pondering as that's a possible way. We think, unless it agrees with our way, we think about like, that does not agree with my way, and we find all the holes in it. But there comes a time that we can look and stop trying to make our excuses, hold our excuses for our views and for our suffering, and look for those ways of escape that are also right there. So it's a matter of where we're fixing our attention, really, that determines whether we suffer or not. So we got back this, we were like really happy that we were able to it was just amazing to us that we were able to put these words together and do it so quickly. Then we got a message back, yeah, but that's not Buddha Dharma. One thing we said was, we had checked off the criteria. Yes, we got that in there, got that in there, got that in there. And then there was we said something like, we appreciate the fact because I was introduced to Buddha Master about 12 years ago, this Dharma, but that Dharma was too hot for me then. I had too many ideas about what I wanted to do, how I thought about things, what I think people need to hear, and what I. And over, I was I was a decade into my what I think people need. And I just couldn't use it. I couldn't take advantage of it. Didn't matter to Buddha Master. He said, "It's no way, if you haven't, there's no way, the conditions are not right for you to be able to." Doesn't mean anything is wrong with the teaching. Doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. As a matter of fact, he had asked for a photograph before he would even give me an audience. Then he didn't give me one. He said, "Tell her she's kind." That's the message he sent back. Tell her she's kind. But the last time I went to see him, he said, "You have bodhicitta." And then he dug right in. Okay, you need to get busy, and that's the difference in the time being right. And so I'm trying to hold it and understand it on my side. And he said basically yesterday, that's just ordinary human thinking. Because I wrote a little part in there in the speaking part, and this is a Dharma lesson. In the speaking part, it said, we're so thankful that he waited 10 years for us to be ready for this Dharma. Don't that sound good? That sounds so good. He waited for his patience. He waited 10 years for us to be ready for. That's just worldly talk. That's just worldly talk. That's just what y'all think. He said Buddha doesn't wait. He doesn't wait on you to get ready to hear the teaching. It's like, and then he explained. They made it plain to me. And I could see like, yes, that's really true. But this is what I'm saying. We've gotten so used to making things palatable that, we'll never find our way out of the maze. We're going to have to get a lawnmower and cut some things down. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to cut some things down so I can really see over the hedge. Time is getting short. I really want to have made my life count. And I really want to leave true words that break the yokes of bondage in people's lives. And whatever I have to do to accomplish that, I'm willing to do. But 10 years ago, I was not willing. Packed these books up and sent them back. I did. I said, these are all good, but I can't work with it right now. And then 10 years later, I just got a call out of the blue. And it was Zanzi. And she said, how you doing? I said, I'm doing good. Oh, we got this, and we got this, we got. She said, how you doing? I said, I'm doing good. I said, I don't even know who else to go to who understands the Dharma. And I'm not saying there's nobody. I'm just saying I don't know. And I've been searching for a long time. And I've been studying with many teachers of me. We all agree on certain things. But I'm looking for something that I don't agree with because I know I have not reached my goal. There's something else that I don't agree with that needs to come into my life to take me where I'm trying to go. So I'm getting a good dose of it right now. So it was that. I said, oh, that's like splitting hairs. We should be appreciative. We should recognize people's compassion. We should, I got all of those things I could say. I said, yeah, but that's not Buddha Dharma, how a Buddha thinks. So if you're going to teach something, teach what the Buddha thinks, not what you think about the Buddha. Teach what the Buddha thinks. Okay. And so they said, and it's going to take some training, but we will help you. We were talking with his I don't know, they call them holy gurus, high level. It run everything. And we will help you. If you want help, do you want help? And that was the question. Oh, no, we said, yeah. Santi was with me and he said, yeah, let's go. We want to do this. And so they said, okay. And so they corrected what in the song was not Buddha Dharma, with our minds looking that way. And they gave us the words that if we're going to say something to people, if we're going to sing something to people, sing this to them. And I looked at it. So we got to have a meeting after. I looked at it and it's like, it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. It was a Dharma talk for sure. Now a Western song that's got rhyme, that's got meter, that's got, like my mind just went to all of this. This does not fit in 2 minutes. There's no rhyme to it. Maybe Chinese songs, they don't rhyme. Or they don't have, one had 3 lines, one had 7 lines, one had 4 lines, I'm like, I can't figure this out. But yesterday, I just said I couldn't figure out how to write a song. Yesterday, we just said we couldn't figure out how to put, meter, how to come up with the chords. I spent all night listening to a book on how to write lyrics in my sleep, thinking it would get into my psyche and jump out for me in the morning. And so they said, first thing is you need to know, and you've heard me say this before, my master before said, you have to be able to accept many blames. I thought, oh, sure, I can accept many blames, but I thought when I really did something wrong, blame me, not just put stuff on me, you know. But it was a test to how I respond when I feel offended, you know, when I feel humiliated, when I feel uh, not enough, when I feel insufficient, because those are the things that cause us suffering, feeling humiliated, feeling offended, feeling not appreciated, feeling not enough. Feeling, those are the things we have to overcome. We can easily overcome the good things. We can take those in stride. But the suffering comes from that other end. And it says that's when you need to know the Buddha Dharma. Because that's the dis-ease, that's the illness that you have to be able to treat. You have to be able to be your own physician. You have to be able to give yourself the medicine. Someone else who could treat you might not be with you at the time you're having a heart attack. You have to be able to treat yourself. And so, yesterday was a day in Samsara, and we had our challenges. And today is another day, and we have our challenges. Last week we had another day. That day I wigged out. You know, she was saying something. I started with the listen to me, and I said whatever I had to say. And you're not listening, you know. But this time, listen, a completely different response yesterday, you know, to a rebuke. You don't even have to take it as a rebuke. It's just information. It's 411 if you really want to know. You know. I'm sure tomorrow I'll get another one. You know. But each time, I mean, I don't think I took one step. I took a giant leap. And to know that that's possible, that's the thing. That we don't have to fall into our habitual tendencies. When the same thing can come up and we can actually handle it differently because we've put that degree of separation there that's necessary to not take things personally. And it's a beautiful thing when one can recognize it. When one recognizes it in themselves and they know their own growth. That's where the confidence comes from. That's where the courage comes from. That's where the strength comes from. That's where the joy comes from. And that's always available to us if we can go through what feels like the trials of life. So because you all were so gracious, I'd like to play the song for you today. The final product won't be this. And actually, then when I got the words back today, they're not much different. They really were like a few, like 3 words in there, but then they added other words, and now it's a triple song. I got to figure out how to condense that down into 2 minutes and make stuff rhyme. But we will work on it. But I just wanted, when we talk about the vidya's, and being able to think the way Buddhists think should be our goal. To be able to speak the way Buddhists speak should be our goal. To be able to act, conduct ourselves the ways that Buddhists and Bodhisattvas conduct themselves should be our goal. Now, those are real things. The rest is just like we study it. But just those three simple goals. So enjoy, because this is the fruit of our work. Will they be able to hear it?
Decently.
Okay, so online.
Question.
Yes.
Will this be the version With the addition? Or
No,
before?
I just got those just before I left the house. And I said, this is too long for 2 minutes. She said, well, then maybe that's why they sent me something else that was shorter as well. I said, but if you use that, you got to write a new song by tomorrow. And so we'll look at both and decide.
When I'm living without hope, when I'm living without hope, when my heart is hurt and my mind confused, calling me, I hear you calling me. When I'm living on the ropes, when I'm living on the ropes, going down for the third time, I hear you calling me, I hear you calling me. You say, why be afraid of false surge and wait? There's just impermanent states of mind. And that once I'm free of false identity, because the master calls from afar, I hear you calling me, calling me. I hear you calling me, calling me.
There is a true unbinding of joy to be received.
When stainless vision rises and we stand undeceived,
Embracing circumstances are hard to be relieved.
this is the end of suffering. We are promised to His holiness, story shining Buddha the third, because of His infinite patience and compassion. For over 10 years He has waited for us to be ready for these supreme teachings. And although throngs of thousands wait to see Him, He teaches us all. Calling me, calling me, calling me, calling me. If you want to be saved, if you want to be saved from your self-destructive ways, listen to the Master. Calling, open to the Master. Calling, 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 open to the Master. Calling, calling, calling to the calling, calling, calling.
So that was it. Like, so it doesn't matter that we can't use it. Something came forward, and we were joyful about that. And they were joyful about it, even if we're at our beginning steps. And so I want to say, and that's not that's the rough cut. So by the time it gets in the recording studio, it comes out sounding good. When you're flat, they can bump you up so you're not flat, and they can do all of those things, But we went through the checklist. Yep, it has a catchy refrain. It has a this. It has a that. It has a rhyme. It has a and so I say to you, whatever challenge you're faced with that you think you cannot accomplish today, when you get the you out of it, I cannot, then we make room for the whole universe to participate in what can come forth. So we don't have to worry. Like, it's almost like we are never alone. So two short notes came to me about our meditation practice, because many times Buddha Master says, well, meditation is only 10% of the process. That's why it's at the end of the Eightfold Path. It's only 10% of the process. It's all of that came before. So he says it's 90% is around our virtue and our conduct. That includes speaking, thinking as well as acting, right? And really actually knowing and seeing clearly dependent origination so we can understand how things arise. And he said, and then the meditation becomes the 10%. So until we have stepped into what the other 90% takes, then our meditation just pretty much reinforces the erroneous views that we hold. So if we could think then of meditation as being like the purification of your heart by repetitive thought on pure things. That's what came to me about very simple, because we got all kinds of definitions for what meditation is, but that focus in that concentration first comes from the repetitive looking at that which is pure and correct. So that becomes your central point of focus. But as that becomes your central point of focus, you'll begin to notice the obstacles, the dirt, the filth, the rocks that are in the way. Like if you were looking to see the clear water, and when you look at water and water is full of sand or whatever, and it's all cloudy, like you see the cloudiness of the water, and we start working to like uproot or get rid of sift out the cloudiness of the water. But our focus should be on the water. So in between all the parts of debris and that is there obstructing or added to the water, our focus should be to see the water. And then we'll begin to see, even in minute detail, that which has been added to the water. And once we see it, then we know that is not part of the water, and we can set that aside. So as I was meditating last night, and I had to think about that which I hold sacred, that which I hold pure, not what the obstacles were, because that's where our mind goes, but holding that which is pure, then I could actually pluck the obstacles away. And what's left is that which is pure. And then our meditation will be a good result, a good effect in our lives. So sometimes it's just a slight shift of what we're looking at, a slight shift in the way that we hold something. Just that slight shift of, that's the way sentiment. One time the Buddha asked his disciples, said, "What do you think of me?" And they said, "Oh, we think you're so loving and so kind. We think you're so compassionate, and that you teach us this Dharma, and that you." He said, "Like, actually, it's not like that. Now I've read that, I have taught that, but yesterday I got it back." And he said, "Well, now if you really understood that passage, then you'll understand what I'm saying to you right now. Do you really understand that passage? You really understand the mind of the Buddha that wasn't caught in the sentimentality? He knows it's all cause and condition, and that the timing is right. There's been a maturity, for the interface, a maturity for the connection. That's right. It doesn't have anything to do with liking somebody or not liking somebody. Being patient with somebody, waiting on somebody, has nothing to do with either. And that's why when we are that way with things and with people coming and going out of our life, because we truly see or truly understand conditionality, then there won't be that sorrow. And it will be a different kind of joy, a kind of joy that's not conditioned upon that circumstance. It's just the freedom to enjoy what has come. So that's what I'd like to leave you with today. And that when we approach our meditation in that way, this is my note. When it came, I jotted it down on a piece of paper. Sometimes that's how things come. But when we are focused on the purity of our object of meditation, whatever we're thinking about, when we focus on the purity of it, it brings about a kind of knowledge. So the knowledge comes by the focus upon the purity of things. So in every situation that we are undergoing, we're looking for the bottom line. What is the advantage of this? What is the benefit of this? What is the purity of this? What is the honor of this? What is the integrity of this moment, this interaction, our relationship? And focusing there will allow us to easily see and just not focus on the obstacles that might also be there. We can allow them then to not take central place. It's amazing, what can actually be accomplished, and our living will not be in vain. So enjoy your holiday, your Thanksgiving on Thursday. I think we're having tofurkey or something. But anyway, I'm going to enjoy it. May you be well and happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you, no danger. May you always be able to meet the inevitable difficulties